Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 2 of the Q&A, so let's go ahead and get this started. All right, first question. Hey Jason, I'm currently following starting strength in LP, and everything's progressing good, but I find I'm really fatigued when it comes to the set of deadlifts at the end and feel like it's hindering progress on that lift. Is this a recovery issue or rest times? Should I make smaller jumps in weight? What are your thoughts? Thanks, coach. Well, you do know that starting strength has an entire forum, including some of their actual starting strength coaches there. So I'm just saying you could throw it out there to them. What is it most likely? Probably recovery. Right? Probably recovery. Could be too big of weight jumps. It could just be the fact that deadlifts are hard. It's hard to consistently progress on the deadlift. Be glad that you're still a novice lifter. Right, hindering progress, man, there's going to be times when your deadlift is going to regress when you get more advanced. There are going to be times when you're more advanced to where a lift that you've pulled before for a single, you're going to put 30 or 40 pounds less on the bar and it's just going to stick to the floor and you're not going to be able to budge it. And you're going to be like, man, I pulled this weight 40 pounds heavier than this a week ago. What happened? I can't even break it off the floor. Welcome to getting more advanced. This is normal. Deadlifts are hard to progress on. They're hard to recover from. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough food? Getting enough rest? Right? So you need to be looking at. Now, as far as the rest times, the starting strength guys always mention that. Yeah, the rest times, maybe you need longer rest times, but you're only doing one set of deadlifts, so there are no rest times, right? So that's probably not the issue on that. It's just the deadlifts are tough to recover from, and if you don't have your life in order, it's going to go slower. And also, you need to expect that you're going to have time where the deadlift stalls and it gets slow on the progression and everything else. It's perfectly normal. I really wouldn't worry about it. Then again, you didn't really give numbers. Had you said, hey, this is what I've lifted for this workout, this workout, this workout. Here's where I'm at. This is what I'm stuck at. Maybe include how much weight you've gained in the last month. Things like that. That would be more helpful. But truth be told, look, deadlifts are tough. Deadlifts are hard to recover from. If everything's not in good order in your life, you don't have your stress managed, you're not getting the proper sleep and nutrition, you should realistically expect deadlifts to very frequently stall or regress. So I'd start looking at all those different lifestyle factors. Or it could just be that you've probably reached close to the limits of your novice linear progression on the deadlift, which is also a possibility. All right, next question. Is it true that the body builds muscle more easily when you are at 10 to 12% body fat? Well, that's what bodybuilders and people try to claim. I don't think there's necessarily truth to that, unless you're talking about muscle memory, meaning have you lost lean mass as a result of cutting? Like were you at 20% body fat and then you cut down to 10%? Because I can assure you almost nobody's starting at 10%. Like you got to be pretty damn skinny to start at 10%. So if it's after following a cut, sure, muscle memory. Right? You get like an anabolic rebound and have muscle memory when you're down that lean coming back up. But if you just mean for general purposes, for people who are trying to stay at that body fat, well, I don't know about that. It's probably easier to gain a little less body fat the leaner you are. Why? Well, again, coming back to muscle memory comes down to nutrient partitioning, things like that. In other words, you're going to find it easier to not gain as much body fat while gaining muscle when you're quite a bit leaner. There's some evidence to suggest that, but it doesn't mean you gain muscle itself faster. You could just bulk, right? It doesn't mean you're going to gain muscle faster. It just means it's easier to gain muscle with less gains in body fat at that point. In theory, and that's assuming you're bulking, but if you're trying to recomp or you're trying to stay really lean, actually it can be quite a bit harder at that lower body fat. So it's all relative, isn't it? It's relative to what you're doing, where you're at, where you've been, where you've come from. So no, I wouldn't just take something like that as gospel. There's a lot of variables and factors involved. So in some cases it might be true and in others it's not. All right? It all depends. All right, next question. How do you program chin-ups when on a bulk? Just like every other exercise. Just remember, what is a chin-up? How much weight are you using on a chin-up? Your body weight plus the weight on the plates, right? That's how much weight you're lifting, because your body accounts for an enormous amount of the weight on a chin-up, unless you're one of those guys who is chinning his body weight or higher, which are relatively rare. Your body weight's accounting for at least 50%, if not more, of the weight that you're moving, right, on a weighted chin. So why would you program chin-ups any different than anything else? You know, it's kind of like that video I made a while back discussing how many chin-ups should you be able to do before you start adding weight. The amount that you need to follow the program you have written, right? You program chin-ups just like you would any other exercise, any other big exercise. Just remember that the weight you're using, if you need to come up with percentages and numbers, the weight that you are using is your body weight plus the plates added in that case, right? And as long as you program it along those lines, you're good to go. Now, you might be saying, well, how do I account for the changes in body weight when I'm bulking? Well, you step on a scale before you do the chin-ups, right? I mean, you know how much weight you're putting on the bar when you do a barbell, right? You know how much weight you're bench pressing. You know how much weight you're rowing. They're all clearly marked on your plates usually. Well, you could use the same thing. You could just go weigh yourself, and the weight of your body is what you program in, right? Not that complicated. People want to overcomplicate something that's really simple. I can assure you most people who have weights at home have a scale at home. I can assure you most gyms have a scale. You can go weigh yourself. Pretty simple solution, huh? All right, next question. Hey coach, my traps grew relatively big from power cleans and they make my shoulders look more narrow. How do you stop traps from growing? Well, I wouldn't worry about stopping traps from growing. Traps are going to grow. What you ran into is a classic problem that a lot of guys who do certain types of pulling, they actually do develop traps and then they don't have delts. It's kind of like, well, I tell guys who chase this whole yoked look, who are doing that, like you're just going to look narrow. I don't know why you're doing that unless you're giving equal devotion to your deltoids. You're going to look narrower by having bigger traps. It's not going to help you. Oh, it's going to make you look bigger in just a headshot. But, you know, you actually have a camera zoomed out or people see you in person, God forbid. It's not going to make you look bigger. It's going to make you look more narrow if you're not careful. So just train your delts more. More overhead pressing, more face pulls, more laterals, whatever you need to do. Blow your delts up. Again, problem solved. Because that's the problem, is that you've grown traps that are disproportionately large to your delts, and therefore it makes you look more narrow. It's a common problem, particularly for guys who sit around doing a lot of shrugs, or in your case, cleans and things like that, without doing much in the way of overhead pressing and other delt work. It's a problem. It's absolutely a problem. But fortunately, it is a problem with an easy solution, right? It's an easy solution. Do more delt training. Don't worry about letting your traps shrink. Don't worry about your traps growing more. Just don't increase the weight or the volume on your power cleans for just a bit. Get stronger at all your delta exercises. If you're that worried about it, blow your delts up, right? Just blow your delts up. Problem solved. You won't look as narrow. And if anything, all these guys who are chasing a look, who have all this obsession with the whole aesthetics thing, I don't know why they don't just attack their delts harder anyways. It's really what they need to be doing. What they need to be doing. You know, delts make you look bigger. They make you look wider. All right, they make you look wider. All right, next question and last question of the week. Is full body training 6 days a week overtraining? I don't know. Do you really think you can define overtraining by that? What is overtraining? Overtraining is a syndrome, right? It's a syndrome that can be diagnosed by sports physicians. And overtraining is a state that your body reaches when you have trained with more total workload or work or training stress than you can recover from chronically over time. Meaning not just short term, but when you have for a long period of time trained beyond your ability to recover and never allowed your body time to recover. And it can usually take weeks and in some cases months to even occur. So overtraining is not an action, it's a state of being, right? Overtraining syndrome. And to put it in better perspective for you, you don't say that someone is AIDSing, you say that they have AIDS, right? It's a physical condition in the body that's quantifiable, measurable. Well, it's only overtraining if you're experiencing signs of overtraining. There's no amount of frequency that ensures overtraining. There's no set amount of volume that determines overtraining. When you exceed your maximum recoverable volume for an extended period of time, you eventually reach an overtrained condition. So the answer to the question is, could it be? Yeah, it might contribute to overtraining. But is it automatically going to contribute to overtraining? No. You have to consistently and chronically exceed your maximum recoverable volume, which is a dynamic number. Your recovery and maximum recoverable volume at any given time is a moving goalpost. It changes based upon your lifestyle, work capacity, diet, sleep, everything. All right? So to answer the question, no, not necessarily. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.